Pythagoras was a Greek philosopher and mathematician who believed that reality is fundamentally mathematical. He saw numbers as the essence of all things. To him, harmony and proportion revealed the hidden order of the universe. He founded a philosophical and religious community that valued self-discipline, vegetarianism, and the pursuit of truth. His followers believed in the transmigration of souls, reincarnation, and thought that living a pure life helped the soul progress. Pythagoras also taught that music and mathematics are deeply connected. According to later authors, he discovered that musical intervals could be expressed through simple, numerical ratios, reinforcing his belief that the cosmos itself was structured harmoniously, like a vast, perfect symphony, the music of the spheres. Heraclitus was a Greek philosopher known for his belief that change is the fundamental nature of reality. He famously said that you cannot step into the same river twice, meaning that everything is constantly in flux. Stability, he argued, is only an illusion. He believed in the unity of opposites, day and night, life and death, war and peace. This thesis can be interpreted in different ways. According to one reading, all things are interconnected and gain meaning through contrast. This tension between opposites is what drives change and maintains balance in the universe. The Greek philosopher also introduced the concept of the logos, a rational principle or order that governs the cosmos. Though the world may seem chaotic, it follows a hidden logic. Most people, he believed, fail to understand this deep order and live without true awareness. Parmenides was a Greek philosopher who argued that change and motion are illusions. He claimed that true reality is unvarying, eternal, and indivisible. What truly exists, he said, simply is. It cannot come from nothing, nor turn into nothing. He distinguished between the way of truth and the way of opinion. Most people, he argued, trust their senses, which deceive them with appearances of change and diversity. Reason alone, not perception, reveals the real nature of being. For Parmenides, there is only one eternal, unchanging reality, being. Since non-being cannot exist, all talk of change, multiplicity, or void is mistaken. His ideas profoundly challenged earlier thinkers and influenced many later metaphysicians. Socrates was a Greek philosopher who focused on ethics and the examined life. He believed that true wisdom comes from recognizing one's own ignorance. Rather than teaching facts, he asked probing questions to stimulate critical thinking and self-awareness. His method, now called the Socratic method, involved dialogue and questioning to uncover sometimes hidden assumptions and lead others to clarity. He valued reason over tradition and believed that living a virtuous life was more important than seeking wealth or power. As far as we know, Socrates wrote nothing himself, but many of his ideas were preserved by his student Plato. He taught that the soul is more important than the body, and that caring for it through philosophy leads to a good life. He was eventually sentenced to death for corrupting the youth and challenging Athenian norms. Socrates has had an immense influence on later Western philosophy. Democritus was a Greek philosopher best known for developing an early atomic theory. He believed that everything in the universe is made of tiny, indivisible particles called atoms, moving through empty space. These atoms differ in shape and size, and their combinations explain all physical phenomena. His philosophy is one of the earliest forms of materialism. Even the soul is made of atoms, according to him. Sensory experiences arise from interactions between atoms and the senses. The Greek philosopher also emphasized the pursuit of cheerfulness and peace of mind. He believed that true happiness comes from moderation, knowledge, and living a virtuous life rather than chasing wealth or pleasure. His ideas influenced later scientific and philosophical thought for centuries. Plato, one of the most influential ancient Greek philosophers, believed that the world of appearances is just a shadow of a higher, unchanging reality. This idea is captured in his theory of forms. Imperfect objects in space and time, like circles, living things, or even justice, participate in perfect, eternal forms that exist beyond the world of the senses. Plato divided the soul into three parts: appetite, spirit, and reason. In his famous allegory of the cave, he illustrates how most people live in ignorance, mistaking shadows for reality, and how philosophers, through reason and education, can turn around and glimpse the truth. In politics, Plato favored rule by philosopher kings, those who understand the forms, especially the form of the good. For him, a just society mirrors a just soul, with reason ruling over spirit and desire. Plato has influenced Western civilization in countless ways. Diogenes the Cynic was a Greek philosopher who rejected stifling social conventions and crude materialism. He believed that happiness comes from living in harmony with nature and freeing oneself from artificial desires. To prove his point, he lived in poverty, often, according to the legend, in a barrel, owning almost nothing. He valued honesty, independence, and shamelessness, using humor and bold behavior to challenge hypocrisy. Diogenes mocked the powerful and exposed the absurdities of overpolite society, aiming to show that virtue needs no wealth or status. For Diogenes, the good life was one of self-sufficiency, virtue, and freedom from social expectations. He became a symbol of radical simplicity and fearless truth-telling. His ideas inspired the later Cynics and influenced Stoic thought. Aristotle was a 4th century BCE Greek philosopher who sought to understand the world through reason, observation, and systematic classification. Unlike his teacher Plato, who emphasized abstract ideals, he focused more on the concrete world. Aristotle made important contributions to the development of the science of logic. A central feature of his philosophy is the theory of the 10 categories. These are 10 fundamental ways in which a thing can be described: substance, quantity, quality, relation, place, time, position, state, action, and affection. Aristotle described the world as made up of substances that change according to 4 causes: material, formal, efficient, and final. He believed everything in nature has a purpose, or final cause. In ethics, Aristotle focused on how we can achieve happiness, or human flourishing, through practicing virtue. He believed the good life means living virtuously and in balance between excess and deficiency. His ideas helped shape Western science, logic, ethics, and politics for centuries. Epicurus was a Greek philosopher who taught that the goal of life is happiness, which include freedom from fear and the absence of pain. He believed that pleasure, especially mental peace, is the highest good, but he warned against overindulgence, which often leads to suffering. He taught that we should seek simple pleasures, good friendships, and a life of moderation. By understanding the natural world through reason, he argued, we can free ourselves from superstition and the fear of death, which he saw as the main sources of anxiety. Epicurus believed the universe is made of atoms and void, and that the gods, if they exist, are indifferent to human affairs. True happiness, according to this philosophy, comes from inner tranquility, not wealth or fame. His ideas promoted a calm, thoughtful life focused on peace of mind. Many later hedonists and utilitarians have been inspired by Epicurus. Zeno was the founder of Stoicism, a school of philosophy that taught that virtue is the highest good. He believed that living in harmony with nature and reason leads to a fulfilled life. For Zeno, happiness depends not on external things, but on our inner character. He taught that we should control our emotions and accept whatever happens with calm and courage. By practicing wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline, we can remain free and peaceful no matter what life brings. Zeno believed the universe is governed by a rational order, often called the Logos. To live well, we must align ourselves with this cosmic reason. His ideas laid the foundation for later Stoicism.